Are you a beginner looking for the perfect opening but don't know where to start? Well, look no further, because I have the perfect opening for you to absolutely destroy black with white. So it starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and this is all very normal stuff. Now, while some YouTubers recommend the Italian game and others recommend, well, no one actually recommends that, and others recommend the Ponziani or the four knights, the one that I'm going to be recommending for you is d4, the Scotch. I think this opening is so simple. I've played it myself and I've had great success with it, and now that's why I'm recommending it to you. So the main, they have to take, they don't have to, but it is the best move. But first we're gonna be looking at what happens if they don't, specifically the bad one.
What is that?
Like f6. F6 is a move that I have seen a lot more than I should. But what you're gonna do here is you're gonna take, and they'll take with the pawn. So now, if you look, this diagonal is really weak. So you're gonna start attacking it with bishop c4, which doesn't attack this diagonal, but it does attack this one. And then eventually you're gonna get your knight to jump in to g5, and when your knight moves, then your queen can come to h5, and the engine already says you're completely winning. So if we go back here, if they take with the knight, this is a small trap. Now you can take, and they cannot recapture, because if they do, queen h5 check comes in and they lose the rook. Another move that they have is knight f6. I have seen this before. And while you can transpose this into the four knights Scotch, that's not what I'm going for. What I'm telling you to go for, the move I'm recommending is d5. She kicks the knight, they got to go to e7. And you have a really nice advantage, because you can pretty much play whatever you want here. This knight is boxed in by this pawn and this pawn, so the knight really cannot go anywhere. The only place it can go is there, which is where it has to go, and you just win the pawn. If black tries to take this pawn, queen e2, and you already have a really great position. So there's nothing much to talk about there. Those are the two bad options that they can play to decline the Scotch. The main option to actually decline the Scotch without taking is the move d6, which is very positional, like very Philidor type stuff, and this move isn't really the best. The line that I used to play is takes, queen takes, king takes, bishop c4, but this line is pretty dull and can almost always goes into a draw. So the line that I'm recommending you to play is d5, which kicks away the knight. Obviously it's attacking it. Their best move is knight to c7 or knight to b8. They cannot really move the knight to a4 because b4 traps the knight. This square is taken away, this square is taken away, and this square is taken away. So they can't go there. If they try knight b4, then you can play c3, you can play knight c3, or you can just kick it out with a3, and then they'll have to move it back to a6, and then you can of course take, that is a move, or you can develop with knight c3. Doesn't really matter, because this knight will pretty much always be able to be taken. So that's why their best move is probably knight to e7. C to e7 is the one you're going to see. No one really is going to play knight b8. But then after c4, you're just absolutely dominating the light squares. You have perfect control. So they're going to probably play g6, because they won't be able to break through, and this knight is blocking their bishop. Or they could try knight to g6, but that is really, really slow. Like, I'll just do this. They have to do all of this just to get the knight there, and that just takes much too long. So they'll probably try g6, and after g6 you can just develop normally with knight c3, or you can go for the engine line, which is c5 to attack the pawn chain, but I think it's just easier to play knight to c3. So I'm going to cover the line that you will probably almost always get, which is e takes d4, you take back with the knight. We're not doing the gambit. If you want to learn the bishop c4 gambit, there are much better videos out there, but for now I'm just suggesting that you simply just take back. And a line that you're almost always going to see, even at the 1300 level, which is not really a beginner, but I see it a lot, is knight takes and queen takes. And that is not a good move to take with the knight, because now this is like the Scandinavian, but they've got no knight to come over here and torture your queen with. So it's just better. Now the move that they're probably going to play is queen to f6. And then you've got a couple moves for bishop e3, just to defend, develop. It's usually what you want to do. Most people will not play queen f6 though. They'll probably play knight f6, which is a huge mistake after e5. And this knight has almost no squares to go to. They cannot play like knight to h5 because g4 traps the knight. So the move that they have to play, which people will actually find this, is c5. After c5, you want to play queen a4, like kind of like a Scandi, pinning the pawn to the king, which is really annoying. Queen e7, they'll probably play to defend the knight, or just knight d5, and then you just have a great game after like bishop d3 or bishop e2. It doesn't really matter. I mean, Engine says this is not the best move, but this is just kind of what you want to go for. Just simple, straightforward development, which is what the Scotch is all about. The main line of the Scotch is for black to right here play bishop c5, and this double attacks the knight, so they need to be careful. And you have some other variations like knight b3, but the one I'm recommending is bishop e3, which already sets a small trap. If your opponent does not defend this bishop or take, then or move the queen. Like if they just play a normal move like knight f6, that loses the bishop because this is attacked and so is the queen. So they have to take back, and then you just take the bishop and you're up a piece. I've gotten many people with this trap before. So they have to defend it. But the most dangerous line for them is they're probably going to play queen to f6. And the best move technically right here is to play c3. Just be really solid, defend the knight. Knight g to e7. They'll probably play so that they can just castle. And you've got a lot of different moves here. The one I'm recommending is bishop c4, castles, d6, trade the knights, trade the bishops. They have doubled pawns now, which is good. And f4 to get a kingside attack. Rook e8 attacks your queen. You defend with the knight because you need to develop another piece. And this position is just overall pretty good. Now, if we look at the plans, your plan is going to be the king. Once you play, a general rule of thumb is once you play f4, it means you're going to attack the king side. And usually when the king is on that side. So you're going to probably play moves like maybe queen h5, probably queen to e2. Probably the best plan is queen to e2, which is what the engine says, and then knight to f3. And then you'll eventually start kicking out and bringing your rooks, maybe with like a rook lift like that. But your general plan right here is to attack the king. And that is really good because most beginners the people you're going to play against are not going to be that good at defending. Now, if you didn't want to play c3, there is a much trickier line, which is knight to b5, called the Blumenfeld attack. This is threatening this fork on c7, and I played this variation for a long time. Now, they have to find the move bishop takes e3, otherwise every move loses. Their next closest option is bishop b4 check, which no one will really play at all. And then you will just play c3, and when it moves away to still keep defending this, you can just play bishop e2 and you just develop. But most people are not even going to do that. Most people are going to, a lot of people are just going to see, ooh, free pawn, I attack the rook. And, well, yes, you can fork me, I'll take you, and everything's really great. But, oh, whoops, wait, we'll probably do it after this. After this, then they'll go here. And this is a blunder because of knight to c3. Not going for the fork. Their queen is just trapped. They have to play queen b4 to get out. And then you've got this. So that they escaped. Whoa, whoops, that is not right. After the check, now you play a queen to d2. So that queen to d2 instead of taking. I sped around that. I should have done that. Because now if they take, you have this fork. So that's really nice. But most people are going to be like, oh, shoot, I don't want to blunder that. And, well, they didn't. And this queen is trapped. So that's I've gotten several people with that. But their best move is to take, book move. They take, they're going to see this. They check you with this diagonal. You're not going to move the king. You're going to play g3. Give up the rook. Because you have knight takes c7. King d8. You take the rook. They take your rook. This is a bit of a long line. And queen d6. Now queen d6 threatens mate. It gets the... it helps to get the knight out. And they have to play knight to f6 if they don't want to get checkmated. And then you're just going to have a pretty simple game after knight c3. When you have... They do have development, yes, but it's not as good as your development. For example, if they see that this pawn's weak and they play rook to e8, which looks like a great move because your king looks kind of bad right now, you can simply long castle. And now they can start to realize that the pressure in their position is very bad. Queen takes h2 and knight b5. And I don't really know how they'll be able to defend this. Maybe knight e4 attacking your queen. But after queen c7, king e7, bishop d3, you just have all of this development. And their king is in the center of the board, which is always bad. And they are up a pawn, but if they're up a pawn and the engine says you're winning, then practically you're winning by much more than that. The other challenging line to the Scotch is knight f6, called the Schmidt variation. And this variation, if your opponent knows what they're doing, which they will not know what they're doing, has a lot of sharp play from both sides, where you will usually sacrifice a rook for a bishop and a knight. But that is only if they know their endgame. What you're going to do in this position is takes. This is normal stuff. And the best move here is e5. That is called the Mises variation, and it has a really long line after queen e7, queen e2, knight d5, c4, bishop a6, pinning the pawn. And then now you have to play, if I remember my theory correctly, b3, supporting the pawn so that it can't be taken ever. And I forgot my theory. G6, and then you play, what was it? Bishop b2. It's a really long line, and I think it goes bishop g7, g3. Does the knight? No, the knight never moves. castles, bishop g2, rook e1, castles again, takes, 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 rook to, oh, and then you play f4. Now, this is a super long line that you probably do not want to study. So instead of all of that, instead of e5, I'm recommending that you play bishop to d3, which is just, like I've been saying, development, just getting a bishop out. And this is still a booking move. This is not like some bad gambit or something. They will probably play d5 because that's usually what they'll play in any position. And now you'll take, they'll take with the pawn, undoubling their pawns, and you'll just castle. Bishop e7 for them, and bishop f4. You've got both of your bishops out, your king's castled, you're going to play knight to c3, you're probably going to play queen to f3. Another rule is that if the knight that goes to f3 is gone, usually in attacking positions, you want to play queen to f3. So that you can get some attack started on the queen side, king side. And also, when you play, after you've played knight to f3, you're also putting pressure on this pawn, which you're going to then start, if you didn't want to attack the king, you're going to start putting pressure like that. So, very much better system compared to the highly technical e5 lines that you're going to get. Their other option is queen to h4, called the Steinitz variation. And this is actually a hard trap that you're going to have to get used to. The engine says you can go for knight b5 with complications, but there's already complications enough. So you're just going to play knight to c3, and after bishop to b4, I cannot believe this is still book moves, you're going to have to, it's going to be a bit hard defending this pawn. So your engine recommends bishop to e2, queen takes e4, because this is pinned, so it just recommends sacrificing a knight, knight to b5, going for this, bishop takes c3 check, bishop takes c3 check, pawn takes, not knight takes, and king d8 is actually their only move to defend this. If you're looking at that and saying, well, what about queen to e5? Well, g3, and you're threatening bishop to h4, something that they cannot really stop. If they try to defend it with g5, now you have f4 instead. And that's it. They just lost the piece. The rook in the corner is going to die. So that's a really great trap. That's most people. That's why you probably should not play the Steinitz variation. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot from this opening video. And if you're a beginner, please be sure to let me know in the comments. And my next video will be on the Benoni, which is d4 c5. And I'll see you guys next time.